Final segment with James Delingpole. I'm going right to your calls. Your anger, what areas of the bill you hate the most, or if somebody calls in who agrees with it, we'd love to hear from you. We don't screen your calls. 1-800-259-9231. Ideas to beat this thing. The Democrats think you're going to forget about what's happened. They've said this. And that they're going to incrementally put it into place so that you don't feel the pain. They know it was unpopular. Over 70% of the country in polls against it. They don't care. And a lot of people are saying this has finally woken their eyes up, finally made them open their eyes and woken them up to be able to really understand that this is only the beginning. This is how tyranny works, James. I mean, you've studied tyranny. You've studied history.
I was going to say, Alex, one book I read recently, I don't know whether you're familiar with it, a book by a Frenchman called Gustave Le Bon, The Crowd, it was called, A Study of the Popular Mind. And this book was written in 1895, and it was the first book to analyze the way a crowd thinks. And it was a big influence, this book, on both Hitler, Mussolini and Freud. So it's remarkably modern in its insights. And what this book says is that in order to manipulate a crowd, you must first understand the crowd is only as clever as the most stupid person in it. So what you must do is not use logic or reason or anything like that. What you must do is repeat something over and over again until the crowd believes you. And this is what's happened with global warming, for example. We've got Al Gore with his propaganda movie, An Inconvenient Truth, his version of Triumph of the Will, where he says, the science is settled. And if you repeat this soothing phrase over and over again, the consensus says, 20,000 scientists say, et cetera, the world is heating up. What happens is that gradually this idea gets absorbed by the whole of society, and people start thinking, yes, we must do something, we must act. But what Gustave Le Bon also says is that there comes a point where the prestige of the demagogue who is spouting this nonsense, if that becomes threatened at any point, then his overthrow can happen very, very dramatically and very suddenly. And I think it is quite possible, the way people are understanding the global warming now, the way, listeners on your show, readers of my blog, I think we could be approaching this wonderful, pivotal moment where we see Al Gore swinging from a lamppost.
Absolutely. I mean, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And this is an all-or-nothing exercise by this criminal class of collectivists that are becoming fabulously wealthy and powerful from this. And that's why they're so dedicated. That's why they've invested so much. And they know the score. And we see their fraud falling like dominoes. So now they're trying to trust in the police state and apathy to carry them through. But no tyranny has ever stood.
Well, carbon is CO2 is I think trading something like 10 cents at the moment. I mean, it's the carbon market has reached rock bottom, and of course you've got even the British Conservatives government, the Conservatives who are about to become the next government, unfortunately, who are saying yes, we must have a floor price on carbon in order to regulate the markets, blah blah blah. There are lots of people who are lots of rich, canny investors like Al Gore, like George Soros, who are very heavily exposed to the carbon trading market. But you can bet your bottom dollar, Alex, that there are also out there a lot of very, very clever investors who are backing quite the opposite. There are people out there who
shorting carbon.
Yeah, people out there who are going to make money by betting that the carbon market is going to fail. And I think those are the people who I think are making the right call. I reckon that this whole thing is going to collapse, but I do not think that they are going to be able to get away with imposing this global carbon tyranny on us all. That's what I'm praying for.
James Delingpole, thank you so much for spending time with us. Website, jamesdelingpole.com. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Bye.